Hello everybody, my name is Starrapter and welcome to the channel. It's been about 3 weeks since we got new Star Wars comics to talk about, but the wait is definitely worth it because we have two High Republic comics to talk about this week. One from Marvel, one from IDW. So starting off with Marvel's The High Republic issue number 3, this is also chapter 3 down below. We have Sskeer, we have Avar Kriss, we have Keeve Trennis, we have the twins of Sareth and Tarek. All these Jedi characters go to this planet. They're investigating what linked these seeds to the Hutts that shouldn't have been in a certain Republic space. So that is where the story is right now. We have one of the Jedi twins that's telepathically connected. His name is Sarah. He had gone missing, and that is where we pick up. So we have the characters all trying to figure out what's going on. We have Tarek, the brother of Sarah, who is connected, mentally through the bonds of the Force or whatever, what have you, with their certain species, knows that he is in peril. He is in trouble. So we have Keeve Trennis. She goes out on her own to try to find what happened, and she encounters this one boy, and the boy helps her, but also kind of annoys her at the same time to find this pit. They go into this pit, very dark, eerie, and next thing you know, that is when the Drengir are revealed. Yes, the Drengir are these sentient plant creatures that will just crave on eating meat. Any kind of meat. Basically, if you're a humanoid, they will eat you. So that is when Keeve Trennis sort of freaks out, as of course anybody would. And Avar Kriss saves the day, coming in through the ceiling of this cavernous region, slicing it in half. Unfortunately, that's just one side of the story, because while this is happening, we have the character of Tarek, who is mentally bonded to Sarah, who is the one that's been captured, going very, very crazy. And this is when Sskeer is watching this character as Avar and Keeve Trennis are away, and it turns out that this guy gets possessed telepathically from his brother, who is being possessed by the Drengir, and Tarek ends up spitting this spores into Sskeer, and that's where Sskeer ends up at the end of this issue, up against Avar Kriss and Keeve Trennis. He is obviously possessed, and his missing arm from that Nihil battle has been replaced by some kind of roots and stuff, as if it was the Drengir that had got infused with his body. And also, that big Drengir that was sliced in half, it is now basically split apart into two separate Drengir that are now also attacking, and that is where we leave off in this issue. So as you can see, a lot happened. This story has become more and more mysterious, more and more of a horror story, as we're discovering these backwater planets in space that the Republic has not really solidified yet. So very cool. Art style is consistently really good from Arya Anandito and the team behind the colors and inks and everything. A very good job with that, because it's showing this nice fertile landscape and then this terrifying darkness in the undergrowth beneath the surface there. So very looking much forward to the next issue. There wasn't a whole lot of ground broken in this issue. I will say we had seen these characters if you had read Claudia Gray's Into the Dark, so I'm not sure if they came from that space station in that story. You can actually read, or rather watch, my recap of Into the Dark to really understand what I'm talking about. If you're not familiar, I have that on the channel. Getting into our second High Republic story for the week, we have The High Republic Adventures, issue number 2. So there we go. We have Eula Talisolo on the cover there. And, well, we have her. We also have the character of Zine Morala. And these two characters get intertwined there on this planet that is being ransacked by the Nihil. There's lots of debris coming out of the space from the emergencies from the great disaster of the Legacy run. So we have a lot going on. In the last issue, we have Eula Talisolo. She's going to try to get these people, these civilians, on a life raft, essentially, which is the one that the Nihil came basically onto the planet with. And of course, we have Marchion Ro, who is the leader of the Nihil, essentially, in this moment of time. He is obviously going against them, but we have all these little Jedi, these Padawans, right? But you also have Yoda. You also have Master Buck, who tends to be this little persona he creates for himself called Buck the Blood. I know Daniel Jose Alder really threw in his paramedic history with this character, but it actually wasn't as crazy as I thought it was in the lead up to him talking about it. I thought it'd be a little bit too far-fetched, but it worked mostly for this issue. So basically what happens is we have Marchion Ro. He is holding all these young Jedi as at gunpoint, essentially, and that's when Yoda, that's when Master Buck come in to save the day. So you have Yoda that is going to try to turn back and rescue perhaps this one character of Crix, who happens to be Zine Morala, and Zine Morala is Force sensitive. So Yoda tries to do her solid, goes aboard the ship with Marchion Ro as it's going to prepare to leave, and Yoda gives this kid a choice. He says, look, I'll give you this holo communicator. It's linked to your friend Zine Morala. Look, if you feel like you want to leave this situation with the Nihil on your own accord, you have a way out because you essentially have that communication that's open. So I like how Yoda doesn't like force it against his will to get out of there. Like, he's not pulling him by the arm, but he is giving him a choice. And I think that's a really good kind of way that Jedi are going about things. They're not trying to intervene with their own sense of, oh, this needs to be done. They're giving people a choice, which is not what we really would see a lot happen during the Clone Wars and the downfall of the Jedi during a prequel. So that was a really cool detail that I picked up on. Some certain things in this issue that were really cool was the introduction of Cham Cham. I met him in the first issue, but we actually see him go in action. Yoda's in there on Marchion Ro's ship, and Cham Cham actually takes off a finger or a hand of one of the Nihil. He just goes berserk. So it's really cool seeing this little cute creature that's like a bat sort of thing, and it's not exactly as cute and cuddly as you might think when it takes off a few fingers. Also, the connection between Zine and Crix, you know, their friendship since birth. Of course, there's strife now because Zine never told Crix that she was Force sensitive, which is obviously forbidden on this planet that they've been growing up on. So he has a grudge, but he's still kind of sentimental toward her, and she's also kind of sad for leaving him because by the end of this issue, they save the day. They knock back the Raiders of the Nihil, but they also are able to go back to Starlight Beacon. So I cannot wait to see what happens with Zine Morala because she's got a lot of potential. I think as a new character, she's a Mickean, so she's kind of like Tiplip and Yili or whatever the heck they are called from the Clone Wars Season 6, I believe they were in, that type of species with the flowy tentacles, whatever. But I'm interested to see how a character that is Force sensitive gets to progress through the trials as a Jedi during the High Republic, and seeing how her experiences is going to be a hyper-focused part of this entire story. And I'm just happy to see how this integrates with everything. Oh, by the way, there's also a Gagoran Nihil. So really happy to see one of those types of species that we've seen in Rogue One. So very happy there. Also, I like how they include these info pages in the IDW High Adventures, High Republic Adventure comics. Like, we get to see that Spider Cruiser as well as the Starrapter, I believe it's called, which is what Yoda and all the people go on, Padawans exploring the galaxy. Another really cool thing about this issue is just how beautiful the artwork is. I haven't seen this good of crowd shots or crowd frames of just all this carnage going on with buckets of blood. This big Chagrian, who is a really funny character, by the way, because this guy is a huge character, a big brute, but he's a healer. Like, he doesn't really like to be in the fight. He doesn't really like to be in the action, but when he has to be in the action, he kicks some serious ass, and he can really hold his own against a number of opponents at the same time. But overall, this story was very inspiring, and I don't know, I think I might even like this more than Marvel's High Republic stories right now. And they're both great, but I'm really gravitating to this story a lot because it really tells that personal story of a character thrown in the middle of a disaster and how they grow at this pivotal point in both like their life as a creature or as a humanoid at this point, where there's a lot of things going on as a teenager, obviously. And then, oh yeah, you happen to be Force sensitive, so we're going to train you with that as well. So very good stories from both the High Republic stories this week. What do you guys think of the High Republic comics? Let's talk about them in the comment section down below. For more on the High Republic, I have a ton of videos specially curated into a playlist of its own. So make sure you go ahead, check out those videos, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. That is going to do it for me, Starrapter. Thank you so much for watching, and may the Force be with you always. Thanks for checking out the video. Please hit that thumbs up symbol. It helps me know that I'm making content that you guys enjoy. And if you enjoyed this video, I also include 2 videos down below you guys should check out. And please consider subscribing to this channel. It helps support me, and it notifies you guys of when I get new videos up on the channel. You can also contact me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Starrapter.